Hey everyone. So this is something I haven't done before, but I want to try. And if people like it and this goes well, then maybe I'll start doing this, every week. But I basically looked ahead at the NHL schedule the rest of this week, and I picked out games that I'm excited for, that people should be excited for, that I think are going to be, the best games of the week, certainly worth watching. And just games on the schedule to look forward to for the rest of this week. So just going to get right into it. Tonight, Tuesday, we have Chicago versus Nashville. That's the NBCSN game. I will be watching that game. Real strong division rivalry there. I love when these teams meet up, and it should be a very good game. Toronto versus Calgary. That I borderline could put every Toronto game on this list just because of Austin Matthews, but that'd be a little ridiculous. But Toronto versus Calgary is going to be a really good game because Calgary is a team with a lot of young talent, just like Toronto, and both teams, are playoff teams, and both teams are good teams in their division, and I think that's just going to be a really good matchup. Even though it's a cross-conference game, not a rivalry or anything like that, it's still going to be a really fun game to watch. And it's going to be cool to see, Matthews, Nylander, Marner, guys and all the young talent that Toronto has going up against, Monahan, Goodrow, Bennett, all the Furland, all the young talent that Calgary has. So that should be a good game. And then lastly, Dallas versus Vegas tonight. Vegas is in first place in the Pacific Division. Who saw that coming? I certainly didn't. I thought Vegas would have long crashed and burned by now. They haven't. They seem to have no weaknesses, and it doesn't matter that they're playing their fourth-string goalie for a while. They just keep winning. They've assembled a very hard-working team, a very gritty team, and for a team that doesn't have a ton of pure offensive talent, they make up for it with their hard work, and they just outwork teams and win, and they've won a lot this year, and they're going to keep winning. And I'm fully on board with Vegas not crashing and burning, and really they really might make the playoffs this year, and that would be absolutely incredible. I already think they're the best expansion team in history. I don't think it's even close, and certainly by the end of this year, I think we're going to see them. We're going to see them at least in the mid-30s with wins, maybe even 40 wins, and I think they certainly have a chance to be mid to high 40 win team in the playoffs. So Vegas has been a huge story. They got a game against Dallas, who's fighting to get into a playoff spot, so that should be a very good game. Wednesday only has 4 games on the docket, but 3 of them are fantastic matchups. Tampa Bay versus Boston. I didn't just put this game on there because I'm a Bruins fan. Anytime the Bruins and Lightning meet up, it's usually a fantastic game. It's usually really physical, which is a little odd because they're not natural rivals the way that Boston and Toronto or Boston and Montreal are, but it just seems like every time Tampa Bay and Boston meet up, it's a nasty physical game. And division rivalry, Tampa Bay is obviously running away with the Atlantic. Boston is fighting to get into a playoff spot. Their last game against Edmonton, they played really, really poorly. It was a very low-energy, flat performance. Right? They should come out beating and banging, high energy, a lot of hitting, and early in that game. That's going to be a fantastic game. Ottawa and Montreal is also Wednesday night. Both teams on the outside looking in for the playoffs. Both teams thought they would be playoff teams this year. Ottawa is on a 4-game losing streak. They need this game badly. And also, huge natural rivalry there between Canadian teams in the same division. That's going to be a fantastic game. I'm sure a lot of people in Canada will be watching that game. And lastly, Anaheim versus St. Louis. Anaheim is out of the playoffs at this point. had a tough start to the season, especially injury-wise. St. Louis has been way better than I think anyone expected. They're in first place in the Central, running away with the Western Conference right now. And so that's going to be a really, really good game between two powerhouse teams, or at least Anaheim should be a powerhouse and would be if they were healthy. But anytime you get, top Western Conference teams matching up, it's going to be a really good game. Thursday, the matchups aren't fantastic, but we do have Dallas versus Chicago, which are two teams fighting for their playoff lives who have not had as good of years as they wanted to. Division rivals, they don't like each other. Dallas usually has, a good number of, physical players in their lineup. Chicago this year, their fourth line is much more physical than it's been in the past, with guys like Tommy Wingels, John Hayden, and Lance Bouma. That's a much more physical fourth line than Chicago's had really at any point since Brandon Bolig left in 2013. So that game could be a real fun one to watch. Could get nasty. Nice division rivalry there. And also on Thursday, Toronto versus Edmonton. This is simply on the list for Matthews versus McDavid. That's the only reason it's on this list. Anytime those two meet up, that's for the longest time it was Crosby versus Ovechkin, and it still is because both of them are still in their they're in their early 30s, so they're not done yet. But the new Crosby versus Ovechkin is Matthews versus McDavid. Unfortunately, whereas Crosby and Ovechkin were in the same division, or at least are now, they weren't when they started, but they are now. Toronto and Edmonton are in different conferences, so you don't get to see them face off as much. So when they do, it's a really worth watching. Friday, the LA Kings versus St. Louis Blues. That's going to be a good game. St. Louis, first place, obviously, I already talked about them having a fantastic year. LA has not been good recently. They got off to a flaming hot start. They jumped out way ahead in the Pacific Division, and then they lost a bunch in a row. And they're really reeling right now, so they need to get it turned around. A win against a top team like St. Louis would be huge for them. And then Vegas versus Winnipeg, two of the biggest surprises in the league this year, at least I think so. Winnipeg in second place in the Central, Vegas leading the Pacific. Two top teams in the West who I don't think anyone expected to be top teams in the West, and they're going to face off, and that should be a very, very good game. And then Saturday is the day to watch hockey. A lot of games on Saturday. I have 5 of them as games that I'm really excited for and are certainly worth watching games. Boston versus Philly. I mean, it's Boston versus Philly. Anytime those teams face off, you're going to want to watch it. Just the rivalry there, even though they're not in the same division, there's a strong rivalry there. They don't like each other, and it's the first time they're facing this off this season. So we'll see if there's any animosity at the right from the get-go, or if it takes a little while to build. St. Louis versus Minnesota, another fantastic matchup. They met in the playoffs last year. St. Louis leading the Central, while Minnesota is out of the playoffs at this point, fighting to get into a playoff spot. It's going to be a hard-fought, tough game, and I really can't. That's going to be a really, really good one. I love division games like that. Anaheim versus Nashville. Rematch from the playoffs last year, the conference final last year. Anaheim struggling with injuries. Nashville's one of the best teams in the West. It's going to be really, really fun to watch them face off. Chicago versus Dallas. They play on Thursday, then they play again on Saturday. The second game of a home-and-home division rivalry. Don't like each other, fighting for a playoff spot. That's absolutely perfect. I love home-and-homes. Really builds up the nasty. That should be a fantastic game. And then lastly, Edmonton versus Calgary. Always a good time when those teams meet up. Battle of Alberta, always worth watching. Could get really nasty. Edmonton leads the league in fights. They've been really ticked off, especially with how their season's gone. Calgary's got guys that can throw too, so that's going to be a fantastic game, and certainly worth watching. So those are the games this week, from now through Saturday, that I think are the best games of the week, and games that I would take time out of my day to watch. So those are the games that I think. If I might start doing this on a weekly basis. If I do, I'll do it probably on Sunday or Monday, which and then go through just the rest of the week. But thank you for watching. Like, comment, share, subscribe, follow. Talk to you guys soon, and should have more videos coming in the next few days. So thank you guys.